Good evening, everyone. Thank you for making me feel at home. Talking about eating a whole pig, or is that all parts of the pig, right? Like good German people from York County. As he laid into me with the last swat, Mr. G said, "How did that feel, you juvenile delinquent?" It wasn't Mr. G's fault. He was put in an awful position, and I had put him there. He was my sixth grade school teacher. And teaching high school for Mr. Guyman was a tough job because they put all the boys in his class every year, year after year. And he was known mostly for his paddle, and his paddle had a name, Big Bertha. High school in Eastern York County, or sixth grade in Eastern York County, was a perfect place to crush the weak and raise up the strong. The classroom was full of pre-adolescent boys and girls, boys who were pre-puberty, pre-antiperspirant, and pre-mature. Girls, there was a group of girls, we called them the horsey girls. The horsey girls talked about horses all the time because they had horses, obviously, and a few of them had horsey features, pre-orthodontists. And the story takes place in the cafeteria, of course, because that's where food is served. And we're all sitting at the tables, enjoying our food, and the boys are considering this tomfoolery. And what we were considering was the fudge sickle that was placed on our divider trays at lunch that day. And the idea was, how many bites could you eat this fudge sickle in? Because food is more than just food, it's fun. And much to my surprise, I said, I can eat that fudge sickle in one bite. And there was stares, daring me. So I picked up the fudge sickle, I ripped off the wrapper, and I stuffed it in my mouth and pulled out the stick. And I swallowed the whole fudge sickle. And there was a huge cheer. Oh, that was awesome. Did you see Smitty? He ate a whole fudge sickle. And I, for a moment, was proud. I was strong. I had conquered. And then there was a cheer, do it again, do it again. The horsey girls were sitting across the table talking about horsey things, and they missed the whole thing. They were talking about a bit, a horse's mouth, and they missed. And I said, I can't do that. I don't have another fudge sickle. I ate my fudge sickle. And magically appears another fudge sickle. So I rip the wrapper off the fudge sickle. I push the fudge sickle all the way into my mouth, and I pull the stick, and I pull the stick, and I pull it. It's frozen, solid as a rock. And I finally pull the stick out. And then there's a tittle. A tittle is a tickle that happens in the back of your throat. And a tittle always happens when you don't want to tittle. And then the tittle and the fudge sickle got into a wrestling match right there in the back of my throat. They were fighting it out. They were duking it out. Who was going to win? And then they ganged up on me. The fudge sickle and the tittle were punching at the back of my throat and tickling the back of my throat. And I'm going, and then I exploded. The fudge sickle was sputum flowing out of my nose and out of my mouth. Here in York County, we have a term, it's called cuts. Do you know what cuts is? Here's the recipe. Chow chow on top of your pot pie? Oh, cuts. Or, oh, he's cutzing on his shoes. That's a German word for, yeah. And then in my sadness, I had melted. The tittle had destroyed me. The fudgesicle had destroyed me. I was alone and tired, and I was wilting and melting. And then I heard it. Debbie's cutzing! And I look up, and there, streaming down her face, tears and cuts on her tray. Little Debbie had cuts. And then there was the smell, and then there was cascading cutsing. As cutsing poured down the aisles of the cafeteria. And then Mrs. Kraut, my dear neighbor, who was a hog farmer, and wore her muck boots to slop the hogs every morning, and then put on a white uniform and came to school with the same boots on, came trudging down the aisle with her bucket and mop, and she says, Debbie, I think you need to go to the nurse. You look terrible. But thank you for putting that on your tray. And meanwhile, the whole cafeteria is bursting out, laughter, tears, screams, and Mr. Guyman grabs me and takes me back to the office, to his office. And there I took my licking. But in that licking, he gave me what I had lost in that moment. He'd given me a moment of being a hero, because that was the foil I needed to overcome the soul-searching dilemma that I'd put myself in.